Hi everyone. So this weekend I'm at a place called Thornborough Henge in the north of England. It's a triple henge system from Neolithic times, built probably about 4,500 years ago. It was built on top of an older site, which can be dated way back into the past, maybe 7,000, 8,000 years ago. It's an ancient landscape. Various burials have been found around the area. The henges themselves were built in line with the three stars of Orion, which lined perfectly with the site at the time that the henges were built. The actual time that I'm here now, there's an actual campsite going on to celebrate Beltane, the start of summer, where they have this camp every year, stalls, music, workshops, basically a gathering of esoteric-minded people. So we're going to investigate these henges. We'll start off with the southern henge, have a walk through there, around there, see what that's like, through the central henge where the camp is, and into the northern henge. Now, what you've got to bear in mind, because of the age of these henges and the farming that's gone on in the area for thousands of years, the henges aren't immaculate. As you can imagine, over time they do deteriorate, and there's been grazing on them. Sheep, cattle, rabbits have burrowed into them. But the good thing is that English Heritage have took over the site. Well, the southern henge and the middle henge, the central henge. So they're going to sort of like get rid of the rabbits and repair some of the more serious damage. The northern henge is a bit more well preserved than the other two henges. It's on private land, and there's like a wood grown on top of it, like deciduous trees and everything. So it's not been open to grazing, and it's more well preserved than the other two henges. But we'll have a look at that when we get to it. So see you when we get there, folks. Hi again. So we're stood on the road that splits the southern henge from the central henge. I'll just pan round. This is the central henge where the camp is. We'll have a further look at that shortly. And the road carrying on through from West Tanfield to Thornborough. And this is the gate towards the southern henge. So let's go and investigate, people. Just before we go through the gate, English Heritage have recently put this sign up. You're standing within a unique cluster of Neolithic and early Bronze Age monuments, built where several prehistoric routeways converge. This is the southernmost of the three large henges, or ceremonial earthwork enclosures, that were probably built in the late Neolithic period. The henges remained important into the early Bronze Age, when at least 10 burial mounds and rows of timber posts were built nearby. Please take care exploring the site. No fires, no climbing. Please keep dogs on the lead. Keep the story of England alive. Help care for this historic site and over 400 others so that they can be enjoyed by generations to come. So you can visit the website english-heritage.org.uk. Okay, so we're just arriving to the southern henge now. So like I say, it's the end of April. We're just involved in the celebrations of Beltane, the beginning of summer, the beginning of May. It's a bit cool and overcast this morning. I'm just going to stand still for a minute and see if I can pick up this beautiful song by Skylark. Hopefully you can hear that. It's one of the most beautiful songs you can hear when you're out in the countryside this time of year. Okay, here's the henge coming up. There's a pathway through the centre of the henge, as there is on all three of the henges. I'll just zoom in a bit. I hope you can hear that skylark. So yeah, we'll head towards the pathway. Okay, so here's the entrance to the pathway through the centre of the southern henge. Just looking to my left, looking to my right, you can clearly see the earthworks. Now apparently the earthworks, when it was constructed, were 4 metres high, with an external ditch around the outside of the henges and a ditch on the inside of the henges. This is something we'll capture better on the northern henge, hopefully, as it's a more preserved henge. So this is the inside of the henge. You can just about make out that the ground raises in the middle from where the ditch was around the outside of that raised bit in the middle. Now, the earthworks themselves, there is a river nearby called the River Ewer. It's about a 10-minute walk on foot, 15 minutes at the most, heading towards West Tanfield. And they use the stone from the river to build the earthworks. And what they put over the top was quartz, white quartz stone. So apparently the landscape was void of trees back in the day. So our ancestors cleared all the trees. And you would have been able to see the 3 henges glistening on a sunny day, with the sun reflecting off the white quartz. Would have been something quite impressive to see. We'll have a walk up the top of the earthworks and look down. So there's still quite a bit of height on this section of earthworks, as you can see. Got a good elevation here. Lots of farming activity going on in the surrounding area. A lot of the land around here has been quarried, actually, by Tarmac. And Tarmac were planning on quarrying these henges, can you believe, till the local group sort of got organised and got English Heritage on board, and now everybody's realising how important this site is. Probably the most significant site between the Orkney Isles and Stonehenge, a central point between the 2 sacred sites. So yeah, there we go, that's the southern henge, folks. So we'll head over to the central henge now. So that's the southern henge visited. Back out through the gate. Across the road that splits the central and southern henge. So you come out the southern henge, to my left is West Tanfield, to my right is the village of Thornborough. So we're going to head to the central henge now, where the camping's taking place this year. We've got the people who do a great job organising it, known as the Dagda on the left, named after the famous god Dagda and his magic harp. So we've got camping all the way around the henge, stalls set up around the henge. You can buy all kinds of fantastic things, catering vans. And tonight, Saturday night, they'll be having a huge communal fire where there'll be storytelling, poetry, singing, musical instruments, dancing. Something to look forward to, and copious amounts of mead consumption, no doubt. But we're here to look at the henges. So this is the central henge. Again, a path through the centre of the henge. This one's been battered by rabbits, unfortunately. There's a lot of damage caused to this henge. It's currently fenced off, and it's rumoured that English Heritage are going to try and repair some of the worst damage, which is really good news. So generations to come will be able to come here and visit and enjoy this site, as many generations before us have. So yeah, this is the central henge, folks. I'll zoom in a little bit. Unfortunately, I can't get an elevated view for you because you're not allowed to go on the earthworks of the central henge due to the damage. We'll have to wait till it's all been repaired. I don't know whether you can see the tents and camper vans and caravans and everything all around the outside. And again, this had a ditch around the inside of the earthworks and a ditch around the outside of the earthworks. So where we're going to head now, where I'm aiming the camera, that wooded section in the background there is where the northern henges. So we'll head on over there, folks. See you in a bit. Right, so we're just walking down this track, just approaching the northern henge on my right, where this telegraph pole is, also known as the wooden henge, funny enough. So they've been doing a bit of work down here by the looks of it. So you used to be able to gain access through here, but they've put some fencing in, cut some of the trees back. So this henge isn't actually owned by English Heritage or managed by English Heritage, privately owned. But you used to be able to gain access through here, which doesn't look possible at the moment. So we'll try and find another way in. Quite disappointing. I hope they're not preventing people from accessing this ancient site. That'll be really disappointing, but there's always a way of getting into these places. Hopefully I won't get done for trespassing. But you can see this is the actual henge in here, and you can see how wooded it is, but some great stuff to see in here. And yeah, we'll get in just along here. So there's a gate down here. We'll put a gate in so it can be managed better. Now I know this person. There's a familiar face here. I've got you on video.
How you doing, Spanner?
Hey folks. So it's been fenced off, gated off. And I've managed to climb in. It's up to you whether you want to do it. It is private land, but it's our heritage, this henge. So been doing a lot of tree felling and driving tracked vehicles through the henge, which isn't very good. Isn't very good at all. Oh dear. Well, let's crack on with the positive. We're in the northern henge, or also known as the wooded henge. All the bluebells are out. The birds are singing. And you can see here now, so this is like an outer ring earthworks. Which then slopes down here. And these are a great example of the ditches. I was talking about the ditches on the inside and the outside of the henges. Well, this is the inner ditch, and look how well preserved this is still. The bluebells are a bit late coming out actually, they're not in full bloom because it's been quite cold the past few weeks. Everything's sort of gone into suspended animation. But we're going to have a walk down here, and I'm actually stood at the bottom of the ditch now. And then we've got the central plateau, for want of a better description, just up here. But oh, there's more bluebells up here. Look at this, isn't this great? Look at that, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so this is the centre of the northern henge, folks. And then we'll have a walk over here and you'll be able to get to see the outer earthworks. I say, there's been a lot of tree felling going on by the landowner. There's always money in trees, unfortunately. Hopefully some of the bigger, more mature trees will be left and allowed to see out their natural lifespan of several hundred years, if not 1,000 years. Doesn't look promising, no. All these tree stumps and what have you. Look at that. So yeah, these are the outer earthworks. So like I say, it's rather well preserved, this, because it's not been allowed to be grazed on. It's just been left wild for a long time, untouched, until recently, with all these trees coming down. Rather disappointing. And the tracked vehicles, of course, that have been through here. Okay folks, so that's your grand tour of Thornborough Henge. Hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoy coming here. Come here twice a year for the past 10-12 years. Beltane, beginning of May for the May Day celebrations, the beginning of summer, and again at Mabon, the autumn equinox in September. They also have a camp here in the central Henge. Really great place to come and visit any time of the year if you want to connect with our heritage and our past. But also check out to see if you can come camping if you're into your more esoteric way of life and pagan-y kind of things, and honouring our ancestors and the gods of this place and the spirits of this place. Then it's a good place to come and camp, the central Henge. Thank you very much. Stay well, people. Look after yourselves. See you on the next video. Hi, I just wanted to correct an error. In the talk I was doing about the southern Henge in particular, I mentioned that they would have been covered in quartz, white stone, but in fact it was a mineral known as gypsum. So gypsum would have been used to make the Henges white, that would have reflected the sun and stood out across the landscape for miles around. So yeah, I just wanted to make that correction. Thanks.